Hey everybody, in this video we're going through Scribe 0.6, which is an online writing program similar to Scrivener. It operates entirely inside your browser and it lets you organize your writing projects as well as write them. So to find Scribe, you need to go to this web address, orwec.github.io/scribe, and I'll have that link in the description down below so it's easier to get to. And it brings you to the project page right here. Now on the project page we can select a project, we can create projects, delete projects, and also duplicate them if we decide we want to go in a really weird direction and want to save everything we've written up to that point. We can do that. We can change our project title name, the author. There's some stats about the project here. We can set a word count goal. So if we're writing a novel, say for NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, we can set that here. And if we know we're going to have a whole bunch of chapters, we can automatically generate chapters using this tool right here. Right now you can see there's only one scene or one chapter in the book. So if we want to increase that to 25, I can click Generate Chapters, and now there's 25 chapters, which we'll look at here in just a minute. The one drawback to this system is I haven't come up with a way to save to the cloud or to save to Dropbox or some method like that. So to overcome that, at the moment we have an import-export tool. So if you want to work on a project in another browser or on another device, you have to export your save file, which looks something like this, and then you copy and paste that. So select all, copy, and then you can paste that into a text document, an email, whatever you want to move it, and then when you open the other browser you copy and paste it back in and hit import overwrite, and that will allow you to work on the same project on different devices. Eventually I'm hoping to set this up to where you can save it to your Google Drive or Dropbox, and so you would just sign in with your account and it would save it there. Other features in the import-export tool: you can export just the text of your story. We haven't written anything yet. We can export a summary, which here's the summary, but again, we haven't written anything yet, or the notes. And there's one note included with every project, and that's the brainstorm note. So let's go on to the rest of the program here and show you how this works. So in outline view, we can see our chapters in order here that we've generated. We can move chapters around using the up and down arrows. So if, you know what, chapter 3 would really work better before chapter 2, let's go ahead and move it up. Then we can go look at that in the preview tab and see if that really works or not. The other thing that this tab does is it shows us, based on our project word count, how long each of these segments should be. So with a 50,000 word novel for NaNoWriMo, 25 chapters, you need 2,000 words per chapter. The color grading will actually change based on how many words you have in that chapter. So from 0 to 33%, you're in red. That's a chapter you need to work on. 34 to 66% turns yellow, so you've done a little bit of work, but it's not quite there yet. All the way up to blue, where, okay, you've written more than 2,000 words, don't need to work on that chapter anymore. So that's how that works, and these update as you save. The other thing you can do is if you see, oh, this is a chapter I need to work on, you can click right here, and it will open it up in the chapter tab. So let's go ahead and do that. So here's the chapter tab. This will actually change based on a setting to say either chapter or scene, depending on how you like to work, or even story if you prefer. You know, if you're writing an anthology of short stories, let's say, then it'll change this word, and it'll also change the words here before you generate the chapters. If you've already generated, you're going to have to change them by hand, but if you change it beforehand, it'll do it for you. So on this page we can do most of our writing. We can change the title chapter, we can say what characters are in this scene. Looking forward to the next release, I'm hoping to have a character report that can be printed. Okay, this character is in these chapters, or you know, you're using this character an awful lot, you might want to switch between characters, that kind of thing. This purpose field helps you to establish why this chapter is in the story. This is also the field used to generate the summary that we saw earlier that was blank. So we would type that in there. Here we have our save date and our word counts. So this scene the total project, and then sprint. This is something we do a lot with NaNoWriMo, is we'll do word sprints. So we hit reset, and we can just start typing. I like to write. Okay, and then if we hit save, Control S or the save button up here, it'll update all of our word counts. So we can see, oh, I've written 4 words so far this word sprint. Not a very productive word sprint, but that's a handy feature to have. It's just built right into your natural writing screen. The other thing that's kind of cool is this toggle notes button. So we have a chapter tab, we have a notes tab. Well, what if we need to refer to something in our notes while we're writing? Well, that's where this button comes in. When we toggle our notes, it does a split screen and kind of crams everything over here so that we can, look up, say, a character's eye color, or what they're wearing that day, or the description of their feelings towards their Aunt Mabel, something like that. We can refer to our notes section and find the note. Oh, here it is. And then we can hop back over here and type in, he looked at her deep blue eyes and da-da-da. Okay, so that way we can see our notes and our writing screen at the same time. So that's a handy feature that's built in. Moving on to the notes section. Oh, and you can also create new notes or new chapters, delete chapters. As far as duplicating chapters, I don't know if that's a feature that many people want. If it is, please let me know down in the comments below. For the notes section, we have new, save, duplicate, delete, same as project. And the way this works is you can create any category you want. In previous versions, I gave you categories like character, setting, items, notes. And I decided that was good, but some people, let's say you're writing a sci-fi novel and you have notes per planet or something like that as you're traveling between these different places. Well, you couldn't really do that in the previous system. Now you can. You can create whatever categories you want, and then you give the note a name, and it will alphabetize the notes by category and then name in the drop-down. So if you have the planet Magungar, all the planet Magungar stuff will be together as long as you put Magungar as the category. I'm actually doing that right now on a project where I'm writing a series of short stories, so I have the title of each story as the category, and then is it the outline, is it the characters, is it the setting? So it's organizing all that for me, which is really nice. I have duplicate here because you may start a note and realize, you know what, I'm actually talking about 2 different things here. Let me split this note in half. So you can duplicate the note and then delete part from this, part from that, and you end up with 2 notes without having to retype or copy paste or anything. So that's kind of nice. Moving on to tools, this is where Scribe acknowledges that it can't do everything that Scrivener can, but there are tools out online that are free that have the same functionality that you get in Scrivener. So Scrivener has a random name generator. Scribe doesn't, but if you click this link, there's a website that does have a random name generator. Scribe cannot export things in standard manuscript format yet, but here's an example of what that looks like, so you can set that up yourself when you go to export Scribe and prepare it to be submitted somewhere. What's your readability score? What level are you actually writing at? So you can click this link, copy and paste your exported text file from that project tab into this readability score cruncher, and it will go through and analyze, and it will tell you what level you're writing at. If you've ever wanted to try dictation software, you can click here and it'll explain how you can set up your browser as a dictation software. Then once you're done, copy and paste that back into Scribe, and you have your next chapter done. Down here in images, there are a lot of Creative Commons and public domain image libraries online. So here's a couple here, as well as an ASCII art generator. If you want ASCII art in your book, if that's the flavor of book you're writing, then that's available as well. Over here in preview, we get to take a look at the project in its entirety. This is where, like I said, you can use your outline to switch chapters around and see if you like that flow better. The other thing you can do is print from this view, and that will bring up your print preview, and it will show that here. My goal eventually with a future edition of Scribe is to make this standard manuscript format so that you can print right from the browser and have it ready to go for publication, or for submission, I should say. So that's how that looks. Oh, one other note, if you're using this on a device, say a tablet or a phone, you have the option to save it as a PDF right there on the device rather than printing, which is interesting. I didn't know that until I tried it the other day. Settings. This is where Scribe begins to shine. If you already know you're going to write using scenes rather than chapters, go ahead and change the unit. Now everything says scene. When you go to pre-generate your chapters, it'll say scene instead of chapter. If you know you're going to be writing a series of short stories, now it says story. When you pre-generate your chapters over here in project, it will use story instead of chapter or scene as the slug. So that's where you can change that. You can change the background image as you write. So let's say you don't want this picture of looks like a manor with a forest or something. So let's go out to Google. Let's say we want to find pictures of space. Let's say we're writing a sci-fi novel. Okay, this one looks fun right here. So right click, copy link address, come back over here, paste it in here and say set background. Oh, it didn't like that one for some reason. Let's grab a different one. Okay. What size is that? Yeah, that one's really big. That should work. Okay. Oh, not link, image. I'm sorry. Copy image address. That's what we did wrong. We don't want the link, we want the image. So if we do that, set background, now we have that image as our background, which apparently was really, really big. Let's try that again. Copy image address. There we go. So now we have a nice space background as we're writing, so as we're in sci-fi mode, we can have that ambiance as we write. If you don't like the font that we're using, or if the font is too small, you can increase the font up to 16 pixels. You can also change from monospace to a serif, sans serif, or a script font if you prefer that. That will update the font on the notes section, so right here, and also the story, scene, chapter section right here. So let's just show you how that works here. Let's say we want to go with a script font at 16 points. Update font. Now we're in a script font at 16 points on both of those. So that's how that works, and that will save in the default settings. So the next time you open Scribe on that browser, it should hold on to that. Night mode. This is something that I came up with because during National Novel Writing Month, I do end up writing in bed a lot with my wife sleeping right next to me, and as a courtesy to her, I can darken the screen a little bit so it's not so blaring and in her face, and that changes everything. Well, except for our gradient here is obviously still that way, but everything else is in this nice dark mode here. So it also helps if you need to give your eyes a break if you've been staring at a white screen too long. That's helpful as well. Danger zone. This is where if something goes terribly wrong, you can reset things. The settings is just like, which font am I using? What's the current project? Things like that. So if Scribe doesn't work after an update, or if something happens and your browser stops working for some reason, you can come in here and purge settings. This will not touch your data file. It's just the settings that Scribe uses. So you can click that as many times as you want. The worst that's going to happen is it's going to reset to the default project. Purge memory, however, is extremely dangerous. This will delete your entire data file. So that thing that we were exporting over here on the project tab, it will delete the whole thing and you'll have nothing left. Only click this after you've done an export, because you will lose your text file. Okay, so again, these are only here if for some reason after an update Scribe is not working properly. You click this or you click this and it should fix the problem. just make sure that you export your stuff first, which again is why I'm hoping to find some way of saving to the cloud in the near future. But that is the bulk of Scribe. That is how it works. Oh, one other thing, if you just want to change a background color, you can leave the image URL blank and go find the color hex using a website. If you like green for your background color, something relaxing, or if you want red, if you want something vibrant, you can put the hex in right there and then set background, and it'll do that as well. But yeah, that is the bulk of Scribe. Each of the tabs in here. I'd encourage you guys to take a look at that. If you forget any of this and you need a refresher, you can click on the help link over here. That will open a new tab that takes you to the help file and kind of explain, what's on each section, how does it work, some of the limitations, as well as the changelog to see what new features have been added, like pressing Control S on any screen now saves. That's something new that I just added this last edition. So take a look at that. Let me know if you guys find any bugs or things that need fixed. I'd be happy to take care of those for you, or if you have additional features that you would like, feel free to send those to me and I will get them added as soon as I can in a future release. Until then, enjoy and happy writing.